All right, so the goal is multiple streams of income. That also is important. So the goal is multiple streams of income. The very first thing that I believe we all should keep in mind is simply this: people don't buy for, people buy for why. Major key. So whenever I began to think about creating multiple streams of income, um, one of the things in my life experience that have sparked for me is the simple fact that it's easy to make money, but to be successful in making money, you have to have a successful mindset. So that led to me believing and understanding, well, where does a stream come from? I took it to a physical sense. So as you can see, we understand a stream to come from a larger body of water, or more commonly known and more prevalent is coming from a river. So the very first step was to acknowledge the true origin, which is, in this case, and what I'll go with is a river. Now, for me, you might be like, what? Where is this? Where are you going with this? For me, the river means God, but if you need a more practical sense, a river could be an industry like cosmetology. And so within the industry of cosmetology, you have so many different things in which you can do, and you can make money from those different things. And so when you begin to understand the purpose and intent of a river, you know its main goal is to get back to the ocean. And so the river does, and it moves in a constant, free-flowing motion each and every day because it's on a mission to get back to the ocean. It doesn't matter whether or not it's confined within riverbanks. It doesn't matter who is in the way, what's in the way. A river is going to move because that is what it has been made to do. So understanding that led me to believe that in order for a stream to be made along a river, there had to be a breaking down, a making of room for a stream to even flow from that river. And so what that led me to believe and realize is that because of the constant motion between and running up against the riverbank, some of the rocks that weren't able to keep steady, some of the rocks that weren't so stagnant, some of the rocks that, were willing and able to move, they moved. And so an event of that rock and the riverbank not being able to handle the free-flowing motion of, you have a stream that is able to form. And so for me, that made sense. And I named that process called make room. All right, tie it back to us. Room is indicative of our minds. The reason why we're even talking about multiple streams of income is simply because some parts of your mind, something in your life, your circumstances led you to believe that you couldn't remain stagnant. You couldn't remain only having one source of income. You couldn't remain only having your time taken away and spent at work. You couldn't remain with the same old status quo that was going on in your life. Something in you began to start making room for more. And that's the same exact thing that happened and happens whenever a stream is made alongside a river. And so if I take it back to cosmetology, let's say you begin to think about how you wanted to be a nail tech. A lot of nail techs out there, fine and dandy. By you deciding that you want to be a nail tech, you begin to start doing research and figuring out all that it means to be a nail tech. So then that starts the B process. Once you have mastered the B process, then you step over to the do process. So at this point, you've went past saying that you can be a nail tech and doing all the research to be a nail tech. And now you started to work, and you might be doing it on the side, or you might actually be in an actual salon. And, you're getting your foot in the door and you're seeing what it's like to actually be something that you made room in your mind to be. And so that leads to this, the have part. You thought about it, started doing the research and started doing it. And so now you have a stream of income. But for some reason, and maybe for a lot of people that are actually here and watching this video, something's missing. You're doing the work is easy, but you still have that feeling of more. You don't quite have clarity. The why comes up in, well, why am I doing this? Why did I leave my other job? Or why did I pick up this other job? This seemed like a lot of work. I ain't wanted to be this much work. Why? We come up with so many descriptions of things because it's not going the way in which we expected it to. And so that led to me to understand, well, and ask the question, and go back to the natural sense. Why do we even have streams? What's the importance of a stream? And so I Googled the importance of a stream, and I hope you do too, because a light bulb will definitely go off in your brain. And when you Google the importance of a stream, you get that understanding. But then that led me to realize that anything that comes from the river is going to have purpose attached to it. It's going to have importance because the river in and of itself is exemplary of purpose. The river does what it is intended to do. And so when you realize that a stream runs off and flows from that excess of the river, is flowing with a purpose. It's flowing with an importance. It's flowing with an intent. And so that led to the third aspect. Let your oil flow. Your oil? What do you mean by your oil? Your oil is your uniqueness. Your oil is what you bring to the table. Your oil is your personality. Your oil is your life's experience. Your oil is something that no one else in the world has. There's only one of you. You one of one. You are one of one, and you are your greatest asset. So when you have that understanding, you realize that you have to determine why the world needs you. You don't need to understand why the world needs a nail tech or why the world needs another stream of income. You need to understand why the world needs you. And so if you can think, and you might say, well, everybody sit up here and try to say that they're unique, because we all are. We all have our own different fingerprints, because when we step in a room and when you establish yourself in something and when you set out to do something, nobody else is going to do it in the same likeness. And that's the beauty of it all. Now, I'm not going to get too cliche, but it steps down to the realization that when you go down the bread aisle, count how many different brands there are. You have all those different brands in the bread aisle, but yet it's all the same product, a sliced loaf of bread. But yet, each of those brands have raving fans that stand behind them. So the same can be subject for you. And so all of this understanding led to these 3 bullet points and more. But these 3 for sure. Give what you have, not what you do. Be of service for, not to. Do your research. Stay focused on solution, not the problem. And so for me, what I mean by do your research is continue to get into his word. And by getting into his word, you find out more about yourself, and you can be more of that into and bring that into whatever it is that you are doing, whatever it is that you are sharing, and more importantly, whatever it is that you're giving to your clientele, to your family, to the people around you. Stay focused on the solution and not the problem. Realize that in life, and when you become this entrepreneur, this extraordinary entrepreneur, you're going to face and expect things to come up and get in the way. But when you keep your eye focused and you keep your eye sound on what it is that you have and what it is that you're bringing to the table and what it is that you are allowing to flow from you, because now you live with purpose and you don't worry about where. Now you live with purpose and you don't care about it being a saturated market. You can begin to always keep your eye on the solution, which is, what am I bringing and offering to the world? And then you can stay focused on why the world needs you. If you care to get a more in-depth understanding of these principles plus more, especially in how you can strategize and plan in regard to your streams of income, click the link below and follow the steps. I got so much more to share with you.